Okay, I know I said that the next video would be about the right to die. Unfortunately, that video isn't complete yet. We're still working on it, and it will be released soon, but for now there is something I wanted to discuss regarding the people that seem to be the winners in the game of life. One of the major things that most successful people tend to refuse to discuss is how incredibly important luck was to their success. There are so many factors at play in a person's life that are often outside of that individual's personal control. Yet we are constantly told that these individuals succeeded and climbed to the top based on their own merit and nothing else, when in reality nothing could be further from the truth. Luck plays an incredibly important role in a person's life whether they want to acknowledge it or not. We don't get to pick our parents, or the socioeconomic status we were born into, or the country we were born in. We have no say in our biological sex or our ethnic background and genetic makeup. Nature just rolls the dice, and we just end up in whatever situation that we're born into, and we have no personal say in any of it. We are forced to just play the cards that we were dealt, no matter how bad the hand was. One of the messed up ironies in all of this is that sometimes, even when a person gets lucky, life can still throw them a curveball and mess everything up anyway. Take for example Michael J. Fox, or more recently Bruce Willis. Most people would have said that Bruce Willis won the lottery of life. He became a world-famous actor and starred in many amazing films, and in doing so, became extremely wealthy, far beyond what a normal person would ever achieve in their lifetime just working a job. Some people would look up on the success of someone like Bruce Willis, and use that as an example for why life is worth living, because to them, it serves as an example that although rare, sometimes people's dreams do come true. The point that I am trying to make is that even if luck is on your side, life is still fundamentally broken. So even if a person was to struggle all of their lives, and manage to achieve great things, none of those accomplishments will matter, if everything will just be taken from them in the end anyway. It does not matter if you are a rich man or a poor man, in the end, you are still subjected to the cruel indifference of life and nature. Michael J. Fox is a person many would consider to be successful, and yet he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and has been struggling with the symptoms for decades. Although he has raised awareness and helped to motivate research on the understanding of the disease, it still goes to show that it does not matter how successful an individual is, or what accomplishments they achieve, it will not protect them from the cruelty of nature. Nature does not care about the suffering and misery people have to go through in their lives. So the only real way to be a true winner in the game of life is to never play at all. Even though Bruce Willis was lucky and successful in his life, he has been recently diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, a disease that will progressively rob him of his cognitive abilities, as well as his physical mobility. All of his accomplishments, all of his achievements in life, are nothing, in the face of the cold indifference of nature. A person can work their ass off all their life struggling to climb to the top of the mountain only to realize when they finally get to the top that there is nothing up there. None of it justifies all of the struggle it took them to climb the mountain in the first place. It is only then do they realize that life is just a cruel joke and life is a game not worth playing, but we keep tricking ourselves into playing it, because we don't know what else to do with our existence.
Oh, I agree. They definitely don't know what to do with themselves, which is why there are many people that dedicate their whole lives to doing nothing but making money, just for the sake of making money. They already have enough money for several lifetimes, but they keep trying to make more and more money because they don't know what else to do with their lives. What was that quote from that millionaire Malfoy? The guy who dies with the most toys wins? Yeah, that pretty much says it all. Since you're on the subject, did you hear about Seline Dion? She was diagnosed with stiff person syndrome. It's a condition that causes a person to have difficulty moving around and keeping their balance, as well as having shortness of breath and random muscle spasms. The condition is progressive, and in the case of Seline Dion, will prevent her from being able to do the things she loves to do, which is to sing and perform. The condition is preventing her from doing the very thing that made her rich and famous in the first place. Life is just full of irony like that. There are stories of poor people that won the lottery, only to die a week before they even get their money. The absurdity and randomness of life seems to know no bounds.
Hey there, Night Owl, welcome, and yes, I did hear about Seline Dion. As a person who also suffers from a progressive neurological disorder, I have a great deal of empathy for anyone else dealing with something similar. Hopefully, they will be able to manage her symptoms and slow down the progression of the condition. Fortunately for Seline Dion, she is able to afford the best medical care that money can buy, so if there is a way to reduce the symptoms of her stiff person syndrome, then I am sure her doctors will make the best effort possible. You know, one of the things that has always really bothered me about life is the chaotic randomness of it all. I have seen people that smoke a pack of cigarettes every day, don't care about their health, eat whatever they want and do whatever they want, and still live into their 80s. I have also seen people that don't smoke and try to eat right, and take care of themselves, to the best of their abilities, and yet still barely make it past 60, if they are able to reach 60 in the first place. The whole of life is like a giant casino game, where everyone just rolls their dice, and hopes for the best. We get our chips, and we place our bets on the table, and we try our best not to lose everything we have. The whole world may as well be Las Vegas, because our lives are just a big gambling game. The crazy thing is, people like Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, and many other celebrities out there, that don't have the collective intelligence of a German Shepherd, are somehow able to just live it up and get the best things in life, all because they were lucky. While countless others suffer every day, in the big casino of life. Everything is completely random, it's not about who deserves what, it's about whatever happens, whatever the dice land on, is what you get. There is no justice in any of it, and just like with any casino, there are a lot more losers than winners. Yet people keep on gambling anyway, despite the odds. It's like a gambling addiction, but in some ways it's even worse, because they wouldn't know what to do with themselves even if they did stop gambling. So they just sit back down at the table and continue to place their bets. Life is such a stupid game, that people just seem hopelessly addicted to. Imagine a game, where you get forced to play it, against your will, just because someone else, your parents, made that decision for you. On top of that, you don't even get to choose your own character in the game, all of that is just random. You don't get to pick your biological sex, your ethnicity, your physical height or what type of body you have, or your personal attributes, such as how intelligent you are, or what skills you will be good at. You get no say in any of that, everything is just completely random. You are just thrown into this massive multiplayer game, against your will, with no say or choice, in how you start out. Yet, everyone tells you that you are supposed to be happy about it, like it's some kind of privilege. Even if somehow, a person was to overcome all of the challenges that life throws at them, and achieve their own level of success in life. All of that will be taken from them anyway in the end, by disease, old age and death. So what's the point in playing a game where you lose at the end no matter what you do? Some people would say that life is not about the destination, only the journey, and the experiences you get along the way. To me, that just sounds like another bullshit coping mechanism, that people use to deal with the harsh reality, that nothing they do matters in the end. So, you think people should just shut up and enjoy the journey? Okay then, tell that to all of the people that are suffering from terrible diseases that are causing them pain and misery. Tell that, to the people that are losing their families in wars around the world. Tell the people that have lost all their hope in life, because this world has literally beat it all out of them. Tell the people of the world that have to live every day in fear and pain, how they should just sit back and enjoy the experience and the journey. There is no amount of subjective bullshit that can even begin to try and justify the hell world, that many of us are forced to live in, so don't even try it. Before I go, I have a question for you. If life was a video game, would you play it? Does everyday life sound like a video game that you would want to buy? Would you pre-order this dumpster fire of a game for yourself or your friends? Imagine a game where instead of grinding for hours to level up your character, you have to grind for decades in order to get the things you want from life. Even then, after spending decades and grinding away in the game of life, there is no guarantee that you will even have anything to show for it in the end. Lots of people spend their entire lives slaving at a job and grinding away trying to get money, only to end up 55 years old and still have nothing to show for it. The company or corporation that you gave most of your life to ends up profiting from your hard work more than you ever did. 9-to-5 jobs are basically a scam at this point. They always have been, it's just only now that the younger generation is starting to figure that out, and are not falling for the mass delusion that their parents and grandparents fell for. The world is also very different from how it was when your grandparents were working their slave jobs. Yes, many of them did work most of their lives slaving away to make a company or corporation rich, but at least they did get a little bit to show for their hard work, and their time spent, in the form of having their own home, and a relatively stable and secure life. Having a stable life with financial security, for the modern-day generation, sounds more and more like a fantasy for most people than a reality. Your parents and grandparents were far more successful than you are, and things are continuously getting worse. There is a saying, that Generation X climbed the ladder of success, and then pulled the ladder up behind them, so no one else can follow. They may not have done that intentionally, but it does not change the fact that you can still work your literal ass off, and not get anywhere close to the level of success and stability your grandparents had. Basically, the biggest majority of people today are just wasting their time and their lives running on the giant hamster wheel of hope in order to achieve a future that doesn't even really exist. So hey there, Night Owl, if life was a video game, do you think you would want to play it?
Of course I wouldn't. None of us asked to be here in the first place, let alone play such a broken game. No one would willingly want to play a game like that. No one would want to buy a game like that. Not even Todd Howard would make a game that bad, although he has come close a few times. That's why we are all forced to play the game against our will, because no one would ever do this shit willingly. 9-to-5 jobs are basically just a rebranded version of slavery. It's still slavery, it's just slavery using a different name. People like Noam Chomsky have been saying that for years. Corporations know exactly what they're doing to people. They just don't care. It's basically just evil how they try and program your mind when you are a kid to get up for school at 8 a.m. and not be home by 3 p.m. in order to condition you to the idea of giving up most of your day and your life to someone else. School classes do not have to be arranged that way, and you shouldn't have to get up so early. It's not good for your health as a child. All of that was done on purpose to get you ready for those 9-to-5 jobs the corporations want you to work at in order to make them even richer. Like I've said before, all we are to them is worker bees, nothing more. Just a tool to be used and discarded when they are done with us.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just such a waste of life, and a waste of human potential. One thing I never understood about the human race was, why do they seem to go out of their way to make life unnecessarily difficult? I mean, wasn't life already hard enough as it is? Why do they insist on making it even more difficult than it already was? Long before humans even showed up, life was already painful, pointless and bleak. For millions of years, life was basically just a pointless struggle for survival. I honestly don't think the dinosaurs were having that much fun, while they were running around and eating each other for survival. Yet humanity has somehow taken the cold brutality of nature, and amplified it into a world that is even more brutal, and more cruel than it already was. It's almost as if modern-day society is designed to cause the most amount of human suffering possible, for as many people as possible, for as long as possible. Just so a tiny 1% of humans can live in relative paradise compared to the rest of us. The modern-day structure of human society is extremely malevolent, and not a place you would want to bring kids into, if you have any compassion or empathy at all. There is just so much wasted potential in the human race. The universe is nearly 14 billion years old, and we as individual humans only get to live and experience it for a very short amount of time. Instead of spending the very short time we have in this life, bettering ourselves, and becoming the best individuals we can be, reaching a type of personal self-actualization, and trying to make a world worth living in, for all of us, we instead are forced to toil away our lives, and waste the potential that we never even knew we had, slaving away every day to make someone else rich. All of our potential, and even our very lives, get stolen away from us, as we are conditioned to become nothing more than tools, to be exploited by a select few, who care nothing about our well-being, or anything else other than themselves. I could never bring a child into this world just so they can grow up, to become just another slave for some corporation. To anyone else that may be suffering in this malevolent system, please do not sacrifice any more innocent children to this horrible society we live in. Don't give them any more innocent lives to use up and exploit, only to toss them aside when they are done with them. Children are better than that. They did not deserve that, just like we did not deserve that. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe, and may any suffering that you endure be minimal.